Welcome to Words of Wonder, where we explore timeless wisdom and modern discoveries. Today, we dive deep into the human mind and the art of mastering emotions, specifically the power of not reacting. Our story begins with a man seeking advice from none other than Gautam Buddha. Once, a man deeply troubled by his own emotions went to Buddha and asked, "How can I control my anger and frustration? My emotions often get the best of me, and I end up regretting my actions." Buddha, with his serene smile, asked the man to sit and listen to a story that would hold the key to his struggle. Many years ago, there lived a king who ruled a vast and prosperous kingdom. One day, he decided to visit a neighboring kingdom whose king was widely known for his wisdom. The visiting king hoped to learn something valuable from this wise ruler. When the king arrived at the neighboring kingdom, he was greeted with great respect, and a lavish feast was prepared in his honor. As he sat down to enjoy the meal, the king noticed a fly had landed in his soup. Disgusted, he immediately summoned a servant and demanded a fresh bowl. Seeing the king's reaction, the wise king who had prepared the feast spoke gently, "Your Majesty, do not let this small fly ruin your mood. It is insignificant." But the visiting king replied sternly, "Even a small fly can ruin my day. I cannot tolerate such things." The wise king, smiling with understanding, said, "Your Majesty, it is not the fly that has ruined your day, but your reaction to it. Remember, you have the power to control your emotions. Do not let them control you." The visiting king was taken aback by the simplicity and profoundness of these words. As he returned to his kingdom, he reflected on the advice. He began practicing the art of not reacting. Instead of letting small things bother him, he learned to pause, reflect, and respond calmly. With time, he noticed a remarkable change. His ability to stay composed in challenging situations grew stronger, and his decisions became wiser and more effective. This story of the two kings reveals a powerful truth about emotions. We often let small irritations control us, leading to anger, frustration, and regret. We react impulsively, thinking that external events dictate our emotions. But the truth is, our reactions come from within us. Buddha's story teaches us that by learning to pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully, we can transform the way we experience life. The power lies not in changing the world around us, but in changing how we respond to it. But controlling emotions is easier said than done. Let's face it, in the heat of the moment, it's difficult not to react. Whether it's an argument with a loved one, frustration at work, or the daily stress of life, our emotions can feel overwhelming. Here's where mindfulness comes in. By practicing mindfulness, we train our minds to become more aware of our thoughts and emotions as they arise. Instead of getting caught up in the storm of anger or frustration, we learn to step back, observe, and respond calmly. This practice is not about suppressing emotions. Suppressing anger or sadness can be just as harmful as reacting impulsively. Instead, it's about acknowledging what we feel, taking a moment to breathe, and then choosing a thoughtful response. A modern-day example. Let's take a look at Michael, an everyday person like you and me. Michael was someone who often found himself reacting emotionally. Whether it was a stressful day at work or a disagreement with friends, he would get upset and react without thinking. His impulsive reactions often led to regret and strained relationships. One day, Michael realized that his reactions were causing more harm than good. Determined to change, he decided to take control of his emotions. He began practicing mindfulness and meditation, and over time, he noticed a shift. When something upset him, he would take a deep breath and give himself space to think before responding. At first, it was challenging. The old habits of reacting impulsively didn't disappear overnight. But with patience and practice, Michael found that he could remain calm in situations that once triggered anger or frustration. Soon, his relationships with others began to improve. He was no longer the person who lashed out in anger. Instead, he became someone who communicated calmly, thoughtfully, and with understanding. One day, a friend came to Michael, seeking advice. "You always seem so calm, no matter what happens," his friend said. "How do you manage to stay so composed?" Michael smiled and replied, "It's not that I never feel anger or frustration. I do, just like everyone else. But I've learned to take control of my emotions and not let them control me. It's a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice." His friend, impressed by Michael's transformation, decided to follow his advice. Over time, he too found peace and calm by practicing the art of not reacting. The lesson here is one we can all benefit from. The power of not reacting can transform your life. When we react impulsively, we let emotions control us. But when we pause, reflect, and respond mindfully, we regain control and make better decisions. Life will always present challenges. People will upset us, situations will frustrate us, and things won't always go our way. But while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we react. Buddha once said, "Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die." This timeless wisdom reminds us that when we hold on to negative emotions, we hurt ourselves more than anyone else. Here are a few more timeless teachings from Buddha that can guide us in mastering our emotions. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. The root of suffering is attachment. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. These teachings remind us of the power of our minds. What we think and how we choose to react shapes our reality. By practicing mindfulness and the art of not reacting, we can cultivate inner peace, strengthen our relationships, and live a more fulfilling life. In conclusion, remember that you hold the power to control your emotions. The next time something triggers you, take a step back, breathe, reflect, and then respond with thoughtfulness and wisdom. By mastering the art of not reacting, you can improve your relationships, make better decisions, and find greater peace within yourself. So, embrace this practice in your daily life. Let go of the need to react impulsively and discover the peace that comes with mindful living.